Yo, 2014 Nissan Xterra. The complaint department said there's something going on, like noise going over bumps, something or another. I'm going to give this front end a little shakedown. First thing I do is weight down the lower control arm with a jack stand. Make sure the tire still turns. I can put a pry bar under the tire and lift up. I can hear a little bit of noise. Feels like the lower ball joint's loose. I'll do the same to the other side. That one's even worse. While it's still weighted down, I can push and pull on the top of the tire and check that upper ball joint. That feels good and tight. There's nothing going on there. The other side's tight too. Now I can shake the tire side to side. I'm feeling a little play there. Looking like a loose outer tie rod there. And if I hang on to this inner tie rod, I can still feel it's loose. I think that inner tie rod's fine. The other side's loose like this too. I'm gonna check these sway bar links next. These links right here, they like to make god-awful noises when they're loose. Pretty easy to diagnose. You just pull up on it, push down on it. Both sides are nice and tight. I'm probably going to end up replacing these anyways because I got to do that ball joint. And to do the ball joint, I think I got to disconnect this sway bar link. And the rust belt, them threads are rusted so bad you usually end up ruining this link just to try to take it off. There's a couple rear sway bar links on this machine too. And this one is loose. That one might make some noise. Ah, this spare tire might make some noise too. Yeah, this exhaust. That might make some noise too. So I'm gonna eliminate some noises on this truck thing. The dealership tried to sell them lower control arms instead of ball joints because apparently they don't press anything. They're too special for that. I wasn't having any of that, so I had the guy just give me ball joints, so I'm gonna leave the control arms in there. He got some outer tie rods from the dealership and the rear sway bar links he got from the dealership. There's a part number for that. Front sway bar links. I'm gonna do all this stuff for the guy, and if it still makes noise, I'm just gonna have to give him some earplugs or something. 21mm tire. I'm gonna take this axle nut off. Got a cotter pin here I gotta take out. I have an 1.25" socket here. I can't remember what that is for all you metric guys. Make sure that floats really nice. Thankfully enough, it looks like there's a 19mm hex on the back of this sway bar link. 17mm on the front. I got a swivel socket on that. Get that out of my way. 24mm on this jam nut. I'm gonna take this tie rod out. Just loosen that up a little bit. Have a cotter pin here. Rusty old bugger. And that's not coming out in one piece. Just bust it off the best as I can. Looks like a 23mm on that. I'm gonna run it up and down a couple of times. Ate right through that cotter pin like it was butter. Whack this a few times with a BFH. Should pop right out just like that. Now since I'm gonna replace this tie rod, he's gonna need an alignment after I put this in. But I'm gonna do a thread count and I'm gonna put the new tie rod in the same spot as the old one. So I got 14 threads on there. That'll get him close enough until he needs to get in alignment. These Nissan tie rods, they didn't come with a jam nut either, so I got to use that one. I'm going to do the alignment guy a favor, and I'm going to loosen up this jam nut for him. sure I loosen that nut up real good for the guy. There's a pinch bolt for this lower ball joint. There's a 17 millimeter on the bolt and a 19 millimeter on the nut. And it's rusted glued in there. Give it up for the rusty glue. I broke it. Wonder how much fun I'm gonna have getting this rusty pinch bolt out. Put a little deep creep on here. Do a little wishful thinking. A little pry bar action. Oh yeah. Try to spread this rusty bugger open again. That should have loosened it up. Try a little pickle fork action. Looks like my axle might be in the way. Yeah, maybe not. Kind of push it out of the way there. That ball joint was really close to this axle. I got a suspicious feeling that it won't go in as easy as it came out. If I take off this upper control arm ball joint, I could probably just flop everything out of the way. But I'm not going to need to do that for now. I'm going to try to do this without doing all of that. Pound that CV axle in a little bit. I'm going to get a ratcheting strap on here. Make sure I'm not pulling on any brake lines or ABS wires. Looks like I'm not going to wreck anything like that. There's a clip on the top of this ball joint. I got a chisel and a hammer. I got you. I have a ball joint press here. You can probably rent one of these at a parts store if you need to. And then this is an adapter kit I got from Harbor Freight. I'm thinking I'm going to need this adapter here for pressing it out because it's bigger than the ball joint. And then I'm going to need this one for pressing it in. And this is probably going to go on the top, like so. Something like that anyways. Tap this in a little bit. Gotta make sure it goes in nice and square. It can't be crooked. I think it's all the way in. I want to wrap this with a hammer a couple of times. Just to make sure it's seated all the way. I don't think it's up there all the way. It looks like it was hitting my adapter. The groove not up far enough yet. I got this beat up adapter. That'll work just fine. I got a snapper in here I can put on this. Make sure that snaps in all the way. I have a big bulky grease zerk too, but I can't put this on until after I get this in because it's probably going to hit this axle. But for now, I'm going to screw it in. I'm going to make sure the threads work. I'm going to put a little grease in it before I do this. 10 millimeter on this. Now I'm going to take this back off. I put a screw jack under the thing. So I'm thinking if I jack up this control arm just a little bit, I might be able to line this up. Oh, it's so close. There, I got it. There's next to no room there. I'm going to put this screw jack under the ball. Try to get this up in there. Winning! Now I can go ahead and put this grease zerk back in here. This new pinch bolt is an 18 and a 21 millimeter. I'm going to tighten this one to 75 foot-pounds. I'm going to go a little more. These jam nuts can give you inaccurate torque. I'm going to tighten this axle nut to 100 foot-pounds. Looks like I'm going to reuse my cotter pin. Count my 14 turns on my tie rod. This castle nut gets torqued to about 65 foot-pounds. And I can tighten this down all the way. Let's get it good and tight. I did grease these before I put them in. These Moogs are using 18 millimeters on this. I'm going to torque these to 65 foot-pounds. These clowns didn't give me any nuts for these rear sway bar links, so I have to reuse the old ones. I can put a 21 millimeter on the inside of this, 14 millimeter on the outside. I would say tighten these to, I don't know, 30 foot-pounds. These lug nuts getting tightened to 100 foot-pounds. And I just want to give it a little shake. Feels tight to me. And it's a job. Okay, bye.